What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. Luke the Goon. I'm going to jump right into this one. If you paid attention to my socials, and I think in the Terminally Ill Tour video, I talked about that I was going to go to the super famous Super Show 2 on March 26th, so this past weekend. From the stage, the grave? To the grave? To the grave. From the stage to the grave. Put on by Joe Christie in the Pit Promotions. I'm somewhat familiar with the venue. It was in Indianapolis, Indiana, at the Emerson Theater. I was a part of the EVIL SON music video, and that was shot at the Emerson Theater. So I was a little bit familiar with the venue before I went. I like the venue quite a bit. I think it's a little run down, but it's kind of like the charm to it. Parking is a little bit of a hassle, but it's not too bad. There's like a Kroger like down the street. I just parked down there. I think everybody else is parked right on the street, but that's really, kind of a problem with any venue that's like in a kind of a crowded area, I guess. But the Emerson itself is it's not bad. Like I said, it's a little run down, but it's a big venue. It reminds me like a little bit of like the size of, I mean, this is going to be subjective to a lot of people, but like the Odeon, if you've ever been to the Odeon in Cleveland, the size of the venue reminds me a lot of that. It's got like slanted floors that like slant down, which is kind of, I mean, it didn't bother me at all until somebody pointed it out, and I was like, that is kind of weird. It kind of like pushes everybody down, to the to where the stage area is. Yeah, I mean, I got there probably about an hour early, and there were already people that were there. They got there at like 2. Some people I think said they got there at 2. And like right away I saw a bunch of homies, Hatcher, James Hatcher, Corey Olch. Yeah, there were a bunch of people there. And then I almost immediately ran into the homie Itty, and I saw Joe Christie, and a bunch of the artists that were there were already there, obviously. And so immediately I kind of went outside with Itty and chopped it up with him for a little while, like until after the doors opened. And this is where I missed, I think, the only person that performed during the show, because I was thinking about it, and I was like, breaking down in my head how I was going to do this video, and I was looking at the flyer to figure out, who everybody was, and I was like, I don't remember seeing this guy at all. And so I think he was probably performed very first, like when I was still outside before I got into the venue. Crawley, I think it's how you say his name, Crawley. Yeah, I didn't see him perform at all. I saw him walking around, and I was like, I wonder when that guy's going to perform. And I guess he performed like pretty much right after they opened the doors, because I didn't see him at all. So I'm assuming that's when he performed. And then I think it was Young Rock and Dino Blanco. And then, my order is still a little shaky because it was a couple days ago. But I think after he performed, I think Damned Nation went on. And I got some constructive criticism for these guys. Mainly, it's the kind of the guy. They were all wearing masks, which is already kind of like a thing that like it's shady territory. Because I mean, I even wrote off AXE at first because of the masks. It's such a tired thing to do in horrorcore that like it will immediately turn people off to your music, no matter what you're doing. But their masks actually look kind of fresh. That's not really where my criticism is going, really, for these guys. It's there. I guess there were only 2 mics available because there were 3 guys in the group, and 2 of them are like kind of like, one's like hyping and the other one's like actually performing. And then the other guy, he was like this tall dude, and he had like a zombie mask on. And like at first I thought he was just kind of like a stage prop type person, like how the clowns bring on, clowns, and they, run out and throw Fago and stuff. Or like, they have like zombies, like Zool used to do it too. They used to have like a zombie that would like stumble around on stage and stuff. And I thought that's what he was at first, until like they handed the mic to him, because he didn't have any, like, he was kind of just looked kind of awkward up there. Like the other guys the one guy always had a mic, and he was kind of like the hype man kind of thing, but he also performed a little bit. But the other dude, kind of like the guy that was the front man at the beginning, he had like a half mask on, like gray. I think that dude's name is Clayface, but I'm not 100% sure. But he was like into it the whole performance. He looked good. But the guy with the zombie mask was just kind of like, he just kind of looked like I know people joke about Boondocks not knowing what to do with his hands. That's what this guy kind of looked like. He kind of was like, I don't know. It just work on your stage presence. And the other thing I would say is like work on the look a little bit. Hone that look. Because like jeans and a t-shirt aren't going to cut it in the scene, especially if you want to take it to the next level. Like this is just like honest criticism. You know, if you want to move, if you want to make this thing serious and really move, you got to work on the whole, you got to oil that machine and do the whole thing. You know, you really got to work, especially if you're going to wear masks, because that's, you're kind of implying that you want to go the theatrical route. And if you want to go the theatrical route, you really need to dial it up, because otherwise it just looks cheap. Yeah. So that's just honest criticism for Damnation. I probably won't see this video, but, you know, everything else, I think you guys are doing all right. The masks look really cool. You just need to dial everything up an extra notch. Yeah. So then, I think after Damnation, Keegan Grimm went up. You know, that's the homie. You know, performed stuff off Gravel Mouth and everything else. And then, I think he had the homie Keegan Grimm. Not Keegan Grimm. Grimm Smiles. There's too many goddamn Grimms in the scene. Grimm Smiles, I think, came up and did a song with him. Because Grimm couldn't get a spot on the show, so he comes up again later. Like I said, my order is a little bit messed up, so I'm going to go over everybody that performed, but like it may not have happened in this order, because I can't remember if Keegan went on before Damnation or Damnation went on. I can't remember. But after that, you know, my homie SON went on stage, and he did, you know, this is the dude that does the theatrical shit. You know, I talked about him in my Terminally Ill tour. A lot of these guys that were on this show were also on that Terminally Ill tour show that I saw like, you know, 4 or 5 days before this show. But yeah, I mean, you know, he had the same set. He did mostly the same things, I think. He had, you know, the robe figures up on stage. One of which was the homie Kaiser. Which is kind of funny because he's a little bit bigger. He's not like my size, but he's a little bit bigger. And they had him in like a full body like spandex suit. But yeah, I mean, this performance that he put on is probably my favorite performance that I've seen from him. In my opinion, the most energetic. And I'm talking about not just like his performance, but the crowd reaction as well. Because like I don't know if it was the acoustics, but the SON chants were like booming through that venue, and it was a really cool experience, I guess. I don't know how else to say it. And what's funny is before the show, I was talking to him and I was like, well, I guess you can't do the. He does the Hive is the last song that he almost always performs, and normally he's like, I want everybody up on the stage. You know, he did that at the Terminally Ill tour. He did that at Camp Zool. And so I was like, he's like, fuck, I'm gonna do it anyway. So I was like, oh, okay, I guess. You know, I can run around to the side of the stage. And so what he did when he got to the Hive is he was like, you know, normally I have everybody come up with me on stage, but this time I'm gonna come out to you guys. So he climbed down, jumped over the barricade, and like basically jumped right in the mosh pit and started doing the Hive. It was really dope. But yeah, that performance was really, like I said, it was the best one I'd seen him perform. I know he said, I didn't see him at the gathering, but he said his gathering performance was really special too. But this one was definitely crazy as well. But after SON went on, I believe Gibby Stites came on, and he had a really short set. I was kind of surprised. I know he played some stuff off Still Ill, I think is the name of the record. And yeah, I was kind of surprised how short a set was. I think I even turned to the person next to me and was like, that was a short set. But then after Gibby, Donnie Menace came on with, who I didn't know was going to be there. I think it's James Joyce Squatch. I didn't know he was going to be there. I saw him walking around. He was like taking pictures and filming stuff. Donnie is professional. He's on LSP, so he knows what he's doing. And he had Jim Joyce hyping for him. They did a couple songs together, And I noticed my homie Keegan Grimm, who's also a videographer. Keegan Grimm does a lot of shit. You know, if you need merch, he can do shirts. If you need a music video shot, he can do that. You need a lyric video, he can do that. This dude is like a modern day, Renaissance man or some shit. And jack of all trades, master of none. And he was filming like a video, I think, for Donnie. I don't know if he's gonna make it a music video or if he's just gonna put out like the performance. I don't know what it is, but he was filming it for him, so we'll see what comes of that, I guess. Donnie killed it. He had some song talking about pissing on people. It was really fucking funny. But yeah, like I said, Donnie's a professional, L's up. And then Fams and the Hooligans performed. They always get the crowd moving. They did. My personal favorite song is Mr. Perfect, and they performed that. I think they did Too Dope. They did a lot of their more like rap stuff. Whereas at the Terminally Ill show, they did a lot more like their rock stuff. And at this show, it was a completely different set, and they did a lot more like Mr. Perfect, Too Dope, a lot more like their more like rap hits, I guess you would call it. And I'll tell you this, man. You really got to keep your eye on these guys, because in terms of like LLE and who they're looking to sign, like Fams has got to be right there. I mean, look at it. They had Fams come on right before Super Famous, right? And they performed on the main stage at Camp Zool. Like, these guys are primed to be the next people on LLE. So I would definitely keep my eyes on Fams and the Hooligans. And like, if I was going to give you somewhere to start, it would definitely be the two. You listen to the two. I mean, Super Famous are on it. Billy Obey is on it. Cody Manson's on it. Mad Max is on it. It's a really, really dope record. It's extremely slept on. But like, if you're like a Long Live Evil fan, if you like Zool, if you like Fun Time, and you're like, oh, I wonder who they're going to sign next, I'm telling you, look at Fams and the Hooligans. Like, all the signs are there. I think it's more like in Fam's court. Like, does he want to do something with Long Live Evil? I think it's going to happen. It's not as obvious as Fun Time was. Because Fun Time, it was like, oh, who's it going to be? It was going to be Fun Time. Because they were putting Long Live Evil on their flyers and everything else. Like, it was very apparent to me when that signing was happening. And so, like I said, I would take a close look at Fams and the Hooligans. If Long Live Evil isn't, and Bill, you're watching this, you should definitely be taking a close look at Fams and the Hooligans, because they're rocking shows. And like I said, I mean, they played main stage at camp. Like, all the signs are there. But the main act, the whole reason people came out to the show, Super Famous Fun Time guys, headlined. I mean, what do I really need to say about it? I mean, they always kill it. They did Stuck. They did Positive. They did Lucha Florida. They did Crawl Space. They did Positive. And, like, sometimes they closed the Positive. And then they had one more song. And it was with a little bit of... And so that was really... It was really dope. Their whole performance is really cool. I mean, obviously, that's why everybody was there. Headlining act. There's not much more I can say about that. Yeah, they absolutely killed it. I should have some footage in here sprinkled throughout that are probably from the homie Dustin Pleens, aka Bootleg Dipshit. And I'll try and weave some footage in here too for you guys. In terms of like, did I pick anything up? Not really. I was hoping that the Fun Time guys would have some like exclusive, like, Super Famous Super Show like merch. And the only thing I think they had were some of the prints. And I kind of wish I'd picked up some of the prints. I don't even know why I didn't. I think I was so busy like catching up with people and, talking to, whoever I was talking to and getting ready. And it was just like, because there were so many people there that I knew. Jono, I forgot about Jono. He was there. Or Jono. I think his name's called Jono. I talked to him at camp. Yeah, there were a lot of people there. Scotty motherfucking V was there. So many people that I was, catching up with. Yeah, so I think it was just like one of those things where the wires got crossed and I just didn't fucking, didn't pick up anything. other than from Itty. Like I said, I was talking to him from his Serial Trippers line, The Nightmare on Melt Street. Yeah, it's actually. Ooh, there we get it. Well, 1 of 32. But yeah, I always try to pick up his stuff. Independent dude doing his own thing. Shipping just kills me. So I try, and when I see him, whenever I talk to him, I'm like, yo, bring this out to this event that I know you're gonna be at, and I'll buy it off you when you get there. And so that's what happened with that. It's got like a T-shirt, flag, and a pin, and then it's got a bunch of stickers in it. And then from the homies, actually, Jew from Picture Didn't Happen was there. How can I forget him? And Casey. And he gave me one of the Picture Didn't Happen stickers. And then the other homie, Bootleg Dipshit, Dustin Pleens, the Fake Time Friends, gave me his little sticker. Real heels never turn. Yeah, he's really been, killing it lately. And so I was actually surprised kind of to see him there. There was a lot of people there that drove, like, for me, it's like a 4-hour drive. So there were a lot of people that traveled from around. I don't know who was the farthest. There was probably some crazy people there. Yeah, I mean, a big shout out to Joe Christie for putting the whole thing together. I believe last year they did it at Carl's Tavern. Not last year, but the first Super Show, I think they did at Carl's Tavern. The Emerson is like a much, much, much bigger venue. And I'm telling you, if the crowd that showed up at the Emerson had showed up to Carl's Tavern, there's no way it just wouldn't have happened. Because Carl's Tavern is like a closet. It's good for small shows, but like a show like that where you've got like 100 people or how many people were there, like at Carl's Tavern, you're going to be like shoulder to shoulder. It's a cool venue. I love Carl's. It's kind of like a underground hub at this point, but it's such a small venue that like you really needed something like the Emerson, especially when you've got like Gibby and Donnie and like all these people that have these big merch booths. Because at Carl's, really, you can't have a merch booth. Like it's pretty much only people unless you're gonna line up outside with your merch. Yeah, it was a really cool show. Like I said, I caught up with so many people. Chuck Reeves was there. I didn't really talk to him too much, but dabbed him up, said what's up. Yeah, like I said, Joe Christie. I talked to Gibby a little bit. Gibby, I don't know if you guys remember this, but around when Gibby had started, kind of like he made that post about nobody on M&E helping him out. I made that meme with Gibby's post, and then at the bottom, like Joe Black looking at him with crazy eyes, like first time, and he laughed and said thanks for the meme and shit. And I actually, at that point, I completely forgot about it until he brought it up, and I was like, oh, shit, yeah, that's right. Yeah, Grim Smiles, like I said, he also hyped for SON. It was cool getting to see him. Yeah, it was a cool show. I mean, I'm like trying not to forget anybody. Sonny Mills, it's always cool seeing Sonny. Yeah, I'm just trying not to forget anybody, but I know I'm going to forget a whole bunch of people. Rehab Music. He was there to help with the sound and stuff. So he was running around like a madman, trying to make sure that all the sound was good. And for the most part, it was. I think there was like a couple mics that were a little bit goofy, but for the most part, the sound worked out. Nasty Inc. I think Mandy was there as well, representing Rehab Music. He didn't perform at all, which I thought was kind of interesting. But I mean, he was like starting pits and like running around like a madman and shit. So, he did. He killed it doing what he does. Because they always, I mean, it's not a show if there's not mic problems. Like, that's a given. At almost every show you go to, there's going to be somebody that has a mic problem. And I was a little worried that the show was going to run long, but it didn't at all. I think the show was over by midnight, which I was really surprised with that many acts. That, like, they churned them out. It went really quick, and it was really good. But, yeah, like I said, once again, shout out Joe Christie. That's the homie. In the Pit Promotions. In the Pit Photography. Go check him out. Yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in. Yeah, I mean, it was a killer show. I mean, with that lineup, that was enough to get me to come out alone. You know what I mean? Like, it was a stacked show. And I'm like excited for the next one. Whenever they decide to do the next one, I'll definitely be there. Maybe at the Emerson again, maybe not. Maybe we could do it here in Ohio. It'd be an easier drive for your boy. Anyway, once again, I always say this multiple times. Thank you guys for watching. I always forget to say all the YouTube shit, but because I figure it's kind of annoying to people. But like the video, subscribe if you aren't already. All that bullshit. You guys already know the drill. And I'll see you guys again real soon.